It pays to examine each activity carefully and determine which quadrant it's really in. It may feel urgent. Is it? Or does it just seem that way because someone or something else is creating pressure? Is it really important? Or has the feeling of urgency made it only seem important? As we observed earlier, if you're addicted to living in a crisis mode, it's easy to think that almost everything you do is in Quadrant 1. But careful analysis will probably reveal a great deal of time spent in Quadrant 3. If you're struggling to find time to invest in Quadrant 2, Quadrant 3 is the primary place to get it. Once you start to invest time in Quadrant 2, it significantly impacts the amount of time you spend in each of the other quadrants. As you plan, prepare, build relationships, or enjoy quality recreation, you'll find that you spend far less time picking up the broken pieces in Quadrant 1 or reacting to the urgent demands of others in Quadrant 3. The ideal to work toward is eliminating 3 and 4. It's spending time on important Quadrant 1 and 2 activities and shifting more and more to the preparing, prevention, and empowering activities of Quadrant 2. As you look at your week, it's important to realize that it's critical not to fill every moment of every day with time-sensitive appointments. Allow for flexibility. While you do your best to plan what's important based on available knowledge, the fact is that life is not the automatic incarnation of a planning page, no matter how well that page is written. To ignore the unexpected, even if it were possible, would be to live without opportunity, spontaneity, and the rich moments of which life is made. The object of Quadrant 2 organizing is not to set a schedule in cement. It's to create the framework in which quality decisions based on importance can be made on a day-by-day, moment-by-moment basis. If you're working on your week now, plan your other key activities around your Quadrant 2 goals and schedule them as appointments or as daily priorities. Consider the value of such a weekly framework by asking yourself the following questions. How do I feel about my week as I have it planned? What difference would it make if I planned Quadrant 2 goals in each role, either as appointments or as daily priorities each week, and carried them out? Do I see the logic in putting the big rocks in first? How will this help me to get those important things done? In Chapter 8, we'll take a closer look at 3 operating perspectives we gain as we move from the daily to the weekly focus. Step 5. Exercise integrity in the moment. With important Quadrant 2 goals in place for the week, the daily task is to keep first things first while navigating through the unexpected opportunities and challenges of the day. Exercising integrity, or integratedness, means translating the mission to the moment with peace and confidence, whether putting first things first means carrying out your plan or creating conscious directed change. All the steps we've taken so far in the process are designed to enhance your character and competence, your judgment, your ability to access that inner compass in decision-making moments where the rubber meets the road. There are 3 additional things you can do at the beginning of the day that will enhance your ability to put first things first. 1. Preview the day. This is a much different process from the daily planning of traditional time management. It's spending a few moments at the beginning of the day to revisit your schedule, enabling you to get your bearings, check your compass, look at the day in the context of the week, and renew the perspective that empowers you to respond in a meaningful way to unanticipated opportunity or challenge. At this point, some people prefer the room for greater detail available on a daily page. 2. Prioritize. Before you begin to prioritize in the traditional sense, you may find it helpful to identify your activities as QI or Q2. This gives you an additional opportunity to ensure that Quadrant 3 activities haven't slipped into your schedule in disguise. It also helps you keep a kairos or compass context to the day, which is normally more chronos or clock focused. And it helps reinforce the paradigm and make you more aware of the nature of the choices you make. If further prioritization is helpful, you can give some indication of the status of each QI or Q2 activity. Some people prefer to use the ABC method, assigning each item an A, B, or C depending on importance, and always working on A's. Others prefer a simple numbering system that requires more specific priority decision. Whether or not you use the more detailed priority indication, we highly recommend that you highlight, circle, or mark with an asterisk your most important priority. This may require deciding between two Quadrant II activities you have scheduled for the day. If the nature of the day is such that nothing else gets done, you still have the satisfaction of knowing you did the one thing that mattered most. As you prioritize, it's critical to remember that your prioritization only includes the items you've put into your framework for the week. It does not take into consideration the priority of unexpected opportunities or challenges. If you've given careful consideration to your roles and goals, what's in your framework will reflect your best effort to determine what's first for the week. But none of us is omniscient. Things can come up that are genuinely more important than what you have planned. Keep connected with your inner compass so that you can act with integrity to what's important, not necessarily to your schedule. 3. Use some form of T-planning for the day. On the daily sheet, the basic structure allows you to list time-sensitive activities on the left and activities that can be done at any time of the day on the right. This technique is often called T-planning. By separating the time-sensitive activities from the rest, you're able to make more effective scheduling decisions and remain sensitive to important commitments. The more condensed weekly worksheet puts these same areas above and below. An activity is considered time-sensitive if its value is attached to a specific time of the day. The power of vision is incredible. Research indicates that children with future-focused role images perform far better scholastically and are significantly more competent in handling the challenges of life. Teams and organizations with a strong sense of mission significantly outperform those without the strength of vision. According to Dutch sociologist Fred Polak, a primary factor influencing the success of civilizations is the collective vision people have of their future. Vision is the best manifestation of creative imagination and the primary motivation of human action. It's the ability to see beyond our present reality, to create, to invent what does not yet exist, to become what we not yet are. It gives us capacity to live out of our imagination instead of our memory. In this chapter, we'd like to explore the impact of personal vision on our time and our lives. We'll look at how we can create an empowering vision and integrate it into the fabric of everyday living. We all have some vision of ourselves and our future, and that vision creates consequences. More than any other factor, vision affects the choices we make and the way we spend our time. If our vision is limited, if it doesn't extend beyond the Friday night ball game or the next TV show, we tend to make choices based on what's right in front of us. We react to whatever's urgent, the impulse of the moment, our feelings or moods, our limited awareness of our options, other people's priorities. We vacillate and fluctuate. How we feel about our decisions, even the way we make them, changes from day to day. If our vision is based on illusion, we make choices that aren't based on true north principles. In time, these choices fail to create the quality of life results we expect. Our vision becomes no more than platitudes. We become disillusioned, perhaps cynical. Our creative imagination withers, and we don't trust our dreams anymore. If our vision is partial, if we focus only on our economic and social needs and ignore our mental and spiritual needs, for example, we make choices that lead to imbalance. If our vision is based on the social mirror, we make choices based on expectations of others. It's been said that when man discovered the mirror, he began to lose his soul. If our self-vision is no more than a reflection of the social mirror, we have no connection with our inner selves, with our own uniqueness and capacity to contribute. We're living out of scripts handed to us by others, family, associates, friends, enemies, the media. And what are those scripts? Some may seem constructive. You're so talented. You're a natural ball player. I always said you should be a doctor. Some may be destructive. You're so slow. You can't do anything right. Why can't you be more like your sister? Good or bad, these scripts can keep us from connecting with who we are and what we're about. And consider the images the media project: cynicism, skepticism, violence, indulgence, fatalism, materialism. Important news is bad news. If these images are the source of our personal vision, is it any wonder that many of us feel disconnected and at odds with ourselves? Vision that transforms and transcends. When we talk about the passion of vision, we're talking about a deep, sustained energy that comes from a comprehensive, principle-based, need-based, endowment-based seeing that goes beyond chronos and even kairos. It deals with an eon concept of time, from the Greek aeon, meaning an age, a lifetime, or more. It taps into the deep core of who we are and what we're about. It's fueled by the realization of the unique contribution we have the capacity to make, the legacy we can leave. It clarifies purpose, gives direction, and empowers us to perform beyond our resources. We call it passion because this vision can become a motivating force so powerful it in effect becomes the DNA of our lives. It's so ingrained and integrated into every aspect of our being that it becomes the compelling impetus behind every decision we make. It's the fire within, the explosion of inner synergy that happens when critical mass is reached in integration of the four fundamental needs. It's the energy that makes life an adventure, the deep burning yes that empowers us to say no, peacefully and confidently, to the less important things in our lives. This passion can empower us to literally transcend fear, doubt, discouragement, and many other things that keep us from accomplishment and contribution. Consider Gandhi, for example, who came from a background of timidity, scarcity, jealousy, fear, and insecurity. He basically didn't even want to be with people. He wanted to be alone. He didn't like working as a lawyer until he gradually began to find some satisfaction in hammering out win-win relationships between opposing people. But as he began to see the injustices against the Indian people, a vision was born in his mind and heart. Out of that vision grew the idea of creating an experimental community, an ashram, where the people could practice egalitarian values. He saw how he could help the Indian people transform their image of themselves as inferior to their British overlords and develop a sense of self-worth. As he focused on his vision, his personality weaknesses were essentially eclipsed. Vision and purpose created personality growth and development. He wanted to love people, to serve people, to be with people. His highest wish was to help redeem a nation. As a result, he eventually brought England to its knees and freed 300 million people. Near the end of his life, he remarked, "I claim to be no more than an average man with below-average capabilities. I have not the shadow of a doubt that any man or woman can achieve what I have if he or she would put forth the same effort and cultivate the same hope and faith." The power of transcendent vision is greater than the power of the scripting deep inside the human personality, and it subordinates it, submerges it, until the whole personality is reorganized in the accomplishment of that vision. The passion of shared vision empowers people to transcend the petty, negative interactions that consume so much time and effort and deplete quality of life. Stephen, I recently spent 2 days working with the faculty and administration of a college in one of the provinces in Canada. They were dealing with very divisive issues, and they were totally caught up in scarcity thinking. The environment was inundated with smallness, pettiness, and accusation. They had spent some time thinking around a mission statement, and as we worked together, they came to a sense of closure. They finally determined that their mission was to become a mentoring educational college for their province. They wanted to be an organization that cares about and mentors other organizations in becoming principle-centered. As they came to that decision, the smallness and pettiness evaporated, These people became energized by something more important, by a transcendent purpose that made other things irrelevant. This is what happens when people have a real sense of legacy, a sense of mattering, a sense of contribution. It seems to tap into the deepest part of their heart and soul. It brings out the best and subordinates the rest. Petty things become unimportant when people are impassioned about a purpose higher than self. The passion of the kind of vision we're talking about has a transforming, transcending impact, probably the greatest impact of any single factor on time and quality of life. One of the most powerful processes we've found to cultivate the passion of vision is creating and integrating an empowering personal mission statement. You may already be aware of the concept of a personal mission statement. The idea isn't new. People from a variety of cultures have created statements of belief, personal creeds, and similar statements throughout time. You may have already written your own as part of a corporate personal development program or in some other capacity. But as we've become involved in mission statement work worldwide, we've found that some statements are significantly more empowering than others. People attempting to write a mission statement for the first time often write to please or impress somebody else. They don't go the distance or pay the price to create a deep inner connection. Their mission statements become a potpourri of platitudes, a to-do checked off the list and filed somewhere for occasional inspiration. On the organizational level, this is what happens when mission statements come down from the executive Mount Olympus and are wordsmithed by the PR department. There's no significant involvement, and therefore no buy-in. The statement ends up hanging on the wall instead of living in the hearts and minds and lives of the people who work there. What we're talking about here is not simply writing a statement of belief. We're talking about accessing and creating an open connection with the deep energy that comes from a well-defined, thoroughly integrated sense of purpose and meaning in life. We're talking about creating a powerful vision based on the true north principles that ensure its achievability. We're talking about the sense of excitement and adventure that grows out of connecting with your unique purpose and the profound satisfaction that comes in fulfilling it. An exercise of creative imagination. If you've never attempted to write a personal mission statement, or even if you have one but you'd like a different perspective, we invite you to take a few minutes now and exercise your endowment of creative imagination. Visualize your 80th birthday or your 50th wedding anniversary. Try to imagine a wonderful celebration where friends, loved ones, and associates from all walks of your life come to honor you. Imagine it in as much detail as you can, the place, the people, the decorations. See these individuals in your mind's eye as they stand, one by one, to pay tribute to you. Assume they represent roles you are now fulfilling in life, perhaps as a parent, teacher, manager, or community servant. Also assume that you have fulfilled these roles to the utmost of your potential. What would these people say? What qualities of character would you be remembered for? What outstanding contributions would they mention? Look around at the people there. What important difference have you made in their lives? As you ponder, try writing down your roles, and beside each, the tribute statement you would like to be said of you on this occasion. How do you feel when you look at this vision of what your life could represent? Now, what if you were able to take that vision, ensure that it was principle-based and connected with your deepest inner imperatives, translate it into words, thoroughly refine it, use it as the basis for weekly Quadrant II organizing, memorize it, envision its fulfillment, write it in your mind and heart so that every moment of your life was touched by it? This quick exercise will give you some insight into the potential power and passion of vision. Actually creating and integrating an empowering mission statement takes time and earnest investment. In order to do it, we have to get into and create an open connection with our deep inner life. Getting into our deep inner life. In a sense, we each live 3 lives. We have our public life, where we interact with other people at work, in the community, at social events. We have our private life, where we're away from the public. We may be alone or we may choose to be with friends or family. But our most significant life is our deep inner life. This is where we connect with our unique human endowments of self-awareness, conscience, independent will, and creative imagination. Without these endowments, it's impossible to create the kind of empowering vision that will create quality of life results. Self-awareness. In our deep inner life, we can use our endowment of self-awareness to explore our needs and capacities and integrate them on a very essential level. We can examine our paradigms, look at the roots and fruits in our lives, explore our motives. One of the most powerful uses of self-awareness is to become aware of conscience and how it works within us. Conscience. Conscience puts us in touch with both the unique and the universal. Only as we tap into our conscience can we discover our unique purpose and capacity for contribution. Think deeply about the people represented by each of the roles in the birthday or anniversary exercise you just went through, and of the unique opportunity you have to influence their lives. No one else can be the mother or father you are to your children. No one else can be the husband or wife you can be to your spouse. No one else can be the doctor you can be to your patients, the teacher you can be to your students, the sister, the friend, the community volunteer you can be to the people whose lives you can touch. What you alone can contribute, no one else can contribute. Viktor Frankl said, "We don't invent our mission, we detect it. It's within us, waiting to be realized." Everyone has his own specific vocation or mission in life. Everyone must carry out a concrete assignment that demands fulfillment. Therein he cannot be replaced, nor can his life be repeated. Thus, everyone's task is unique as his specific opportunity to implement it. 19th century social reformer and writer William Ellery Channing had this to say: "Every human being has a work to do, duties to perform, influence to exert, which are peculiarly his, and which no conscience but his own can teach." Only as we connect with our conscience in this deep inner life, we can create the fire within. Mission statements that come out of public or private life thinking will never access that deep inner core of personal empowerment. As explorer, writer, and filmmaker Sir Lawrence Vander Post put it, "We have to turn inwards, to look into ourselves, look into this container which is our soul, look and listen to it. Until you have listened into that thing which is dreaming through you, in other words, answered the knock on the door in the dark, you will not be able to lift this moment in time in which we are imprisoned, back again into the level where the great act of creation is going on." Roger. Some years ago, I met Tom at a seminar for university students. When I asked him to introduce himself and tell a little about his goals, he indicated that he was majoring in civil engineering. Later during the seminar, I asked him to share with others what he would do if he had a month with no demands on his time and unlimited funds. His face lit up like a Christmas tree. "That's easy," he replied enthusiastically. "I'd buy a table saw, a planer, and, lots of other tools. I'd set them up in my garage, get all the kids in the neighborhood together, and we'd build things. Tables, playhouses, furniture. It would be great." As I noticed the shining eyes, I couldn't help but remember the apathy with which he had announced his college major a few moments ago. "You really like to teach, don't you?" I asked. "I love it," he said simply. "And you enjoy working with tools?" "Oh, you bet." "How are you enjoying your classes in civil engineering?" "Oh, I don't know. There's good money in engineering." His voice dropped off. "Tom," I said, "did it ever occur to you that they pay people to teach kids how to build things with tools?" It was fascinating to watch his face. It was obvious that his decision to major in civil engineering was not the result of a deep inner connection with his own talents and a conscience-inspired sense of contribution. But when he touched that connection, even briefly, when he suddenly saw the possibility of fulfilling his own uniqueness, he became totally energized. While Tom might have been an adequate civil engineer, it was easy to see he would be a phenomenal woodshop instructor, and that his love for woodworking and for young people would empower him to make a difference. Conscience not only puts us in touch with our own uniqueness, it also connects us with the universal true north principles that create quality of life. We can use conscience to align our values and strategies with principles, ensuring that both the ends and the means of our mission statement, both the contribution and the methods used in making the contribution, are principle-based. Creative imagination. Once we tap into conscience, we can use our endowment of creative imagination to envision and give meaningful expression to conscience-inspired vision and values by creating an empowering personal mission statement. It's the blueprint before the construction, the mental before the physical creation. After writing a mission statement, we can use our creative imagination to visualize ourselves living it. Today at work, tonight when we come home, when we're tired, when our expectations haven't been met, when we're disappointed. We can use our mind to face and creatively solve the most difficult challenges to our integrity. We can live out of our imagination instead of our memory. Independent will. When living our mission statement means swimming upstream, going against the environment or our own deeply ingrained habits or scripts, we can use our endowment of independent will. We can act instead of being acted upon. The passion of vision gives us a new understanding of independent will. Without the passion of vision, discipline is regimentation and restraint. Control yourself, grit your teeth, white-knuckle your way through life. The basic paradigm is that without some form of tight control, we'll mess up. We don't have trust in ourselves that, left to our own internal motivation, we would moment by moment make effective choices. But the passion of vision releases the power that connects discipline with its root word, disciple. We become followers of our inner imperatives, voluntarily subordinating the less important to that deep burning yes. Instead of control, we're focused on release. The key to motivation is motive. It's the why. It's the deeper yes burning inside that makes it easier to say no to the less important. Characteristics of empowering mission statements. As we've had the opportunity to read hundreds of mission statements from around the world, we found it to be a humbling experience to see so clearly into the deep inner lives of other human beings. As we read each expression, we feel we stand on sacred ground. These statements are incredibly diverse. They range from a few words to several pages. Some are expressed in music, poetry, and art. Each person's personal vision is unique. But one of the greatest validations of the reality of true north is in the almost universal expression in these statements of the basic laws of life. The foundational principles and the recognition of the four needs and capacities to live, to love, to learn, to leave a legacy are transcultural, transreligious, transnational, transracial. Regardless of who or where they are, when people get into their deep inner lives, they sense true north. Those mission statements people have found to be most empowering seem to have several other characteristics in common as well. You may find this list helpful to you in writing your own mission statement, or in evaluating one you've already written. An empowering mission statement, 1. Represents the deepest and best within you. It comes out of a solid connection with your deep inner life. 2. Is the fulfillment of your own unique gifts. It's the expression of your unique capacity to contribute. 3. Is transcendent. It's based on principles of contribution and purpose higher than self. 4. Addresses and integrates all four fundamental human needs and capacities. It includes fulfillment in physical, social, mental, and spiritual dimensions. 5. Is based on principles that produce quality of life results. Both the ends and the means are based on true north principles. 6. Deals with both vision and principle-based values. It's not enough to have values without vision. You want to be good, but you want to be good for something. On the other hand, vision without values can create a Hitler. An empowering mission statement deals with both character and competence, what you want to be and what you want to do in your life. 7. Deals with all the significant roles in your life. It represents a lifetime balance of personal, family, work, community, whatever roles you feel are yours to fill. 8. Is written to inspire you, not to impress anyone else. It communicates to you and inspires you on the most essential level. A mission statement with these characteristics will have the comprehensiveness, depth, and principle-based foundation to make it empowering. If you'd like more specific help in creating a personal mission statement, we've included a mini mission statement workshop with detailed exercises, instructions, and sample mission statements in Appendix A. Even with a powerful written document, it's vital to realize that it's impossible to translate the mission to the moment in our lives without weekly cultivation, pondering over it, memorizing it, writing it in our heart and in our mind, reviewing it, and using it as the basis for weekly Quadrant II organizing. You may also find it helpful to go on a personal retreat, perhaps yearly, to evaluate and update it. Unfortunately, many people living with the efficiency paradigm of third-generation time management tend to see writing a personal mission statement as another to-do, to be checked off a list. As one woman observed, "I wrote my mission statement. I actually felt really good about it. But then I filed it in my organizer and mentally checked it off as done. I went along for months, successful in business, setting goals, moving ahead with my life. I became increasingly focused on the haves. I want to have a new car. I want to have a new house. I wrote down goals. We want to build this house. So what do we need to do? Save this amount of money, qualify for this loan, all those kinds of things. I thought I was doing everything right. And then, late one night, I found myself sitting alone in my beautiful new house, thinking, why am I not happy? I'd thought once we closed on the loan, once we signed the papers, all of a sudden I'd have what I was working for. But I just felt lonely. I thought, there's something missing. I didn't feel the happiness I thought would come from these things. As I was thinking, I saw my organizer, and so I opened it up and read my mission statement. Never once in all the time we were building our house had I ever even looked at that statement. As I read, I realized that there was nothing materialistic in it. Everything was be. I want to be a good person. I want to be a good example. Eventually, I want to be a good mother. I found myself crying. I sat in my beautiful new house with the lights off, thinking. I thought this would make me happy. As soon as I had this car or this house or whatever it was, then I'd be happy. But I looked at all I had, and I wasn't anything I wanted to be.